James Lynch here for MMA News, joined by Katlyn Chookagian, who's got a big fight coming up here against Jessica Andrade at UFC Fight Night on October 17th. Katlyn, how's it going?
Really good. I'm excited.
I bet. This is a huge fight. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was a little enthusiastic myself, but Jessica Andrade, was this someone you were even expecting? Because obviously she's fought, at strawweight over the last couple fights.
Yeah, I didn't know that she was planning on moving up or, nothing like that. And then, I've been asking for a while to get a new fight, and it was kind of tough because, where I'm at in the division, it's like I fought a lot of the girls already, and there's not really any, super interesting fights that come up for a rematch that, necessarily that makes sense, and everyone seemed to be already booked in the top 10, so it was kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do? I guess I have to wait till one of those fights go through and fight someone. I didn't know, and then I remember someone was saying, they're like, oh, I was like, maybe I'll fight Jessica again. They're like, oh, she's fighting Andrade. I'm like, wait, Andrade is moving up? I'm like, I didn't even know about that. And then that fight fell through, I think, because Jessica had surgery and stuff. So then I got the fight. I got to replace her. So it kind of worked out well. They were like, do you want to fight Andrade? I'm like, absolutely. This is awesome.
I didn't even know that I was booked against Andrade, so that's cool that you got to take advantage of that opportunity. While we're on the subject, because you were just talking about how you fought everyone in the division, what do you think of Jennifer Maia getting this title shot? Because you defeated her a couple fights ago.
Yeah, I think it kind of if you say that, you're like, well, why would she get it? She lost the case.
I know she beat Calderwood, who was supposed to get the next shot, but I still think some people are like, well, she did lose a couple fights ago. But yeah, I was just curious your thoughts on that, because you did defeat her, obviously, and she's getting the shot.
Yeah, obviously to me, and I think a lot of fans are, if they think I beat her pretty easily, and then they're like, well, that doesn't make sense. But realistically, anyone that hasn't fought Valentina and needs to fight her, there doesn't really. If they gave me a rematch with Valentina right now, of course I would take it. But I understand that it doesn't really make sense when there's still other girls in the top 10 that haven't fought her. So I was kind of stuck in this weird position where it's like, all right, no one is really interested in a rematch right now for me, but there's also no one else for me to fight. So what am I supposed to do? It's kind of like, it sucks. It sucks for me because I was stuck at the number one contender spot. I'm number one, but I can't get a fight because, I think they don't want me to beat someone that could potentially fight her. And then that takes takes a contender out of the story. But, so that's why I was excited when they said Andrade was moving up. And then, because I was really looking forward to fighting, I wanted to fight Cynthia Calvillo, with her moving up and winning over Jessica. I think they were hyping her up a lot. So I was really looking forward to fighting her. And then I got rumored, they're like, okay, your next fight will probably either be Cynthia or Lauren Murphy. I was like, okay, cool. And then I saw they got booked together. I was like, wait, what about me?
Yeah.
So with Jessica Andrade coming up, that it was really exciting for me because I feel like it's almost like none of the other fights in the division are super exciting for me, and this is kind of fun because it's a little bit of a super fight in the division, which I think this division needs really, really big fights that aren't necessarily the title fight.
Yeah, and this is going to be on Fight Island. I know you probably found that out recently because I know they were kind of deciding whether they're going to stay in Vegas or go out there. But are you excited about this? Do you like traveling, or would you prefer to fight in Vegas?
Yeah, I definitely prefer to fight in Vegas. I think if it was different circumstances, I would. But the traveling time now is instead of 5 days, it's 10 or 11 days, and really it makes it tough for coaches to go because they have to go the whole time. Whereas if I leave on a Tuesday, fight Saturday, your coaches can come on Saturday morning, So it's really hard for a lot of the coaches to be able to come out. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. And I just don't, I like traveling, but I don't really like leaving my home and my family for that long, but I'll take it. It's a fight. And for me, for this fight, it'll be since it's in Fight Island, it's a bigger cage, which will be to my advantage. So yeah, business is business.
Okay. Has that impacted your corner at all for this fight with the fact that, maybe some of your coaches won't want to go for that long, or is there anything impacted there?
My head coach, Mark Henry, won't be able to go. So that's kind of a bummer. This is probably my first pro fight, and he's even been in my fight corner for amateur fights, that he won't be able to be there. But I'm actually going to have my other cornerman, Ryan Cafaro, and then Sujara, my teammate, she's going to come out and help corner.
Of course.
I mean,
big win for her, by the way, last week. How nice was that?
Yeah, it was really good. And I was like so pumped. I was like pumped she won. No injuries. I was like, all right, I got my sparring partner back. And now she's like, actually, I'm going back to Vegas. So she's fighting next
Fighting
week
Katlyn
now.
Vieira. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm having like FOMO that I'm not there for it. I'm excited for her. But yeah, I think hopefully she'll go and get the win. And then she's got to come back from Fight Island and then go back with me. So, but yeah, I'm excited for her.
Now, we know what Andrade can do. She's got power. I mean, she's one of the few women that we've seen like literal like highlight reel knockouts in terms of like, I remember she knocked out Kovalevich. How do you look at this fight from a style perspective?
I think it's a perfect style matchup for me. I mean, she does very well when she's the bigger fighter and can bully people around. When she fights taller fighters or bigger fighters, that's where she really struggles, and she can't use her strength as an advantage. When she fought at 135, she's lost to Jennifer Maia. She's lost to Raquel Pennington, a couple girls in Bantamweight and stuff. So I think and then at strawweight, Rose and Johanna are like taller, rangy fighters. I think that kind of takes away her aggression and her strength. So, I'm bigger and taller than those girls. I'm like one of the tallest girls in the UFC. I think I'm like 7.5 inches taller than Andrade. So I think that, it's going to be a real she's going to be coming forward using her wild pressure. I'm going to be using my footwork and my length. So, I think it's just kind of who sticks to the game plan the whole time.
Who have been some of your main training partners for this camp?
So as always, like I usually use, I kind of did like a whole camp before my camp started because I was doing my whole camp with Sujara. And, so I've been sparring with her. I have also luckily New Jersey has, a lot of, short guys that are short and wrestlers. So I've had my share of from guys from there. And I've also been sparring on Aaron Blanchfield, who's fighting for the
of course,
title.
Aaron's so talented. I'm really excited to see her get that opportunity against Pearl Gonzalez and Invicta. That's great.
Yeah. We actually just sparred this morning, so she's been good. She's got really solid wrestling and forward pressure, so it kind of works out for both me and her. But yeah, pretty much them. I try to spar every day, like 5-6 days a week, and yeah. I'm going to start wrestling with, my husband coaches wrestling, and he has a couple really good high school wrestlers that are a little bit shorter, so I can work with that. Because, I mean, the height difference is a huge play in this game. I mean, it's the same height difference as if I were to fight John Jones, who's
right.
6'4".
Yeah, no, it is pretty incredible. And then also, we talked about the travel. Does the weight cut get altered because of that? Because obviously when you're on the plane, you retain water, and, sometimes you might not get the food that you'd like. Is that something you've thought of leading into this?
Not so much especially because I had a full camp. I mean, my last fight when it was during, it was in Vegas, but it was during this whole like crazy quarantine thing, and that was short notice. As long as, I've known about the fight since like 6 or 7 weeks out. So yeah, that's not an issue for me. I get my weight down pretty good, so it doesn't really matter. And, from what I've seen when the fighters fought there last time, the UFC pretty much, prepares all your meals and stuff. So that helps a lot.
Yeah, makes a big difference. How do you see the fight playing out? That's the one question in this one, because obviously, like I said, Andrade probably going to try and go out there and get a knockout, but you're very durable. I think the Valentina loss is the only fight that is ended inside the distance as far as your losses go. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I'm just going to pick her apart with my striking. She's going to get frustrated and just try to take me down, and if she... it's going to be really hard for her to take me down. And worst case scenario, she takes me down. I'm, really good at jiu-jitsu, and I'm even good off my back one top all over in jiu-jitsu. So if it does go to the ground, I feel super confident there that I could submit her. Something
we didn't talk about in this interview, and I wanted to give you some props. I see you're now being repped by CAA. How cool is that? They're a pretty big agency, and it's cool to see them really, put their stamp on the MMA sphere with them having, George St. Pierre and Francis Ngannou, and now yourself, you're part of that roster.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, we just started working together recently. This will be my first fight with them. They're super positive and like helping me, not just with the fighting, but with the things outside of fighting and trying to, I'm getting older, and like, as I've had, this will be like my 10th UFC fight. So, just trying to start thinking of things outside of the UFC and what I want to do after. And they're super positive and helping me with things like that. So I'm excited to work with them and see what we have going on in the future.
Any potential projects outside the cage that are in the works? Or I guess you'll figure that out after the fight, maybe.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Maybe
I'm
the
really
cooking show. Maybe that's something that you guys can talk about.
Yeah, I'm really trying to get into that. Maybe get a YouTube page up. So because we do a lot of our cooking on just my Instagram, and I'll put it on my stories, and everyone's like, you should make a video. I want to know your recipe.
Because if you put it on YouTube, you can monetize. You can make a little bit of money off that too, right? So.
Yeah. My problem is I'm just awful at computers, so I'm I gotta figure out I gotta film it and put it up there. It sounds so silly, but I'm I'm the worst. I'm if I'm not at the gym, I'm pretty useless with everything else. But I'm gonna probably after this fight, because we wanted to do some of our videos of we do our grilled pizza and stuff like that. And I'm all right, we'll do some of these videos after the fight because I don't want to make the video and then not be able to eat it.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, that's totally great. Actually, Miranda Granger, who's a UFC strawweight, she just launched a channel a couple months ago doing food reviews, kind of like Dave Portnoy at Barstool, where she's reviewing cookies and things like that. So I don't know if you ever want to, maybe after this interview, you could check it out and see what she's been up to, but she's doing a great job with it. So I don't know, that might fit into what you're looking to do. So
yeah, definitely. That's awesome.
Cool. And this was an awesome interview, as it usually is, Katlyn. Really appreciate the time. Just any sponsors you want to plug, any social media you want to get out there, I'll give you the last word.
Just all my social medias, pretty much everything is at Blonde Fighter, Instagram, Twitter. You can just follow me there, and hopefully we'll get the YouTube page running up, and then on there you can see all the food I make.